Alright, this will continue here. This side will be the side I read the Muslims version plus doing a mock Arabic accent, and this is the side I'll be using to read my words here. Okay, let's see here. Alrighty. If true, why were you trying to defend... I'm going to go back a little bit here. Okay. He is just like us. He's talking about Muhammad. I will take his word and obey as long as it does not conflict with the Quran because of two reasons. One, he can potentially be wrong. Muhammad can potentially be wrong? Gosh. Two, enemies of Islam may have corrupted the hadith. Isn't that something a Muslim said, that Muhammad could be potentially wrong? Wow. I guess he's trying to prepare you guys for what Sunan Abu Dawud said. You know. Alright. If true, why were you trying to defend the hadith about Satan sleeping in your nose at night and Ajwa dates? You know. Can you make up your mind, please? Ignorant, you'll say, what? And if you read Al-Tabari, you find out that it's a sea of water, that the sky is a sea of water held over our heads by the power of Allah, so that not a drop drinks. You think that really is a sea over our heads for sun, moon, planets, so literally swimming? Right, I asked that. Look, give me the verse number and I will look into it. Okay, we'll type into your web browser. How do you mean verse number? Okay, we'll type into your web browser, Al-Tabari, sun and moon travel in a chariot, and it should take you right to that place. Ignorant, you say, you think the sky is held up by invisible pillars because it's held up by the power of Allah. Right, right. Look, where the hell lock means. Allah says in Quran, we have made the skies a protective ceiling for you. Recently, a meteor hit a village in Russia. You can find the videos on YouTube. Right, on YouTube. Okay, you have it reversed from the Quran. If you read the Quran, the stars, lamps, in the lowest heaven, lowest sky, actually Earth's atmosphere, aren't to protect the Earth from incoming objects, but to shoot flaming missiles at men and jinn who try to leave the zones of the Earth and spy on Allah without authority, and spy on Allah. And the Quran says no one can leave the zones of the Earth unless by authority. In other words, unless through Allah. But guess what? The Quran says the moon is in the midst of the zones. And guess who went to the moon without authority from Allah? And guess who wasn't attacked by stars in the lowest heaven, lowest sky, Earth's atmosphere? Yeah. Both Russians and Americans. Pagan astronauts. No flaming missiles from stars attacked them. How come? So again, you have it reversed. It was traveling over 50,000 kilometers per hour. It shattered into millions of pieces. He's talking about that meteorite that hit Russia, that exploded over Russia. It shattered into a zillion pieces in the atmosphere, right, by hitting the atmosphere, not because it was attacked by a lamp star in the atmosphere. If it did not, it would have killed every living thing in the city, right, by hitting the atmosphere, not because it was attacked by a lamp star in the atmosphere, like the Quran tries to tell us. About attacking you if you try to leave the zones of the Earth, yet to spy on Allah. Apparently, Allah, he knew nothing since. Again, you have it reversed. Oh, okay. How would an illiterate shepherd know about the protection of the atmosphere 1400 years ago? Oh, apparently he knew nothing since, again, you have it reversed from the Quran. For if you read the Quran, the stars, lamps in the lowest heaven sky, Earth's atmosphere, aren't to protect the Earth from incoming objects. They're not supposed to protect the Earth from incoming objects, but to shoot flaming missiles at men and jinn who try to leave the zones of the earth and spy on Allah. And the Quran says no one can leave the zones of the earth unless through the authority of Allah. But guess what again? The Quran says the moon is in the midst of the zones, and guess who went to the moon without authority from Allah? And guess who wasn't attacked by stars in the lowest heaven, sky, Earth's atmosphere? Both Russians and American astronauts, pagan astronauts, didn't even ask permission of Allah to do it, and they weren't attacked by stars in the atmosphere of Earth. It also protects you from the harmful effects of the sun, and that certainly is a protective ceiling. Don't tell me men and jinn are ultraviolet and cosmic rays. Does that make sense? You don't appreciate what Allah has given you. What a shame. Just know that you have it totally reversed when it comes to guard by the lamps. You have it reversed from the Quran. For if you read the Quran, the stars, lamps in the lowest heaven, sky, Earth's atmosphere, aren't to protect the Earth from incoming objects, but to shoot flaming missiles at men and jinn who try to leave the zones of the Earth and spy on Allah. And the Quran says no one can leave the zones of the Earth unless through the authority of Allah. But guess what? The Quran says the moon is in the midst of the zones, and guess again who went to the moon without authority from Allah? And guess who wasn't attacked by stars in the lowest heaven, sky, Earth's atmosphere? Both Russian and American astronauts, pagan astronauts. Ignorant. You say, if true, how come the surah is called the clot and not the clinging leech substance? Right, I asked that. Lock. What the hell lock means? Surah al-Laq is not called the clot. The translation is called that. Exactly. Can you show me a Quran written before the time we all knew embryos embedded in uterine walls and weren't blood clots that has it, there's a translation that has it not as the clot, you know? Where is that translation? Surah al-Laq is Surah al-Laq. Surah al-Laq is Surah al-Laq. And the first meaning of al-Laq is clinging leech-like substance, parasite. If so, then again, how come all Qurans in English have the surah translated as the clot and not the clinging leech-like substance, parasite? How come? There are still many verses we do not fully understand, even though the Quran boasts of it being the clear signs handed down that explain things fully in detail. No? As the science develops, we will be able to better understand these verses. I think we already do know. Ignorant. You ask, where is that Quran in English that says leech-like substance? Right. I asked that. The newer translations are calling it this way. You think? Oh, well, it's about time they got their act together. Yeah, but again, show me one that was written before we knew about embryology where it says leech-like substance instead of the clot. You know. I think I have told you the first meaning and the second meaning of the word alaq and Arabic, which makes me always respond back again with how come all Qurans in English have the surah translated as the clot and not the leech-like substance, parasite, written before we knew about embryology and embryos embedding in uterine walls. How come? The first meaning is perfectly in harmony with the science. Only with the newer translations are calling it this way. Quote, when you said the newer translations are calling it this way. Yeah, only with those translations. You should have said the older ones. You should have said the older ones before embryology have it this way as well. It would have been taqiyya, lying on your part, but it would have been way more impressive if your line proved to be correct. You know? This world-famous embryologist in Toronto converted when he read these verses. How come? Because he read the new translations and not the ones written before what embryology shows about embryos attaching to uterine walls? Who is this genius anyway? I can give you his story. Oh, I'm sure you can. Again, did he come to this with old translations of the Quran? or the new translations, not the ones written before what embryology shows about embryos attaching to uterine walls? Are you going to claim that you know better than him and he was stupid too? What do you think? Wow, you are really ignorant. Again, did he use old translations of the Quran to come to this conclusion, or the newer translation, or as you said, the newer translations are calling it this way? Ignorant, you say ultimo. Well, luck. You say one more time something similar to this. You are done and blocked. Zero tolerance. Are you clear? It's up to you. I mean, truly, I can think of things far worse to call him than old Mo, if you'd like. Ignorant, you say embryos. You say, quote, embryo does not even have blood in it like a leech, and it is a bunch of living cells. You disagree with that. Luck. What the heck is this Locke stuff? Talk to the world-famous embryologist in Toronto who converted to Islam after reading verses of the Quran. Again, did he come to this with old translations of the Quran, or the new translations, not the ones written before what embryology shows about embryos attaching to uterine walls? His name is Dr. Moore. Shouldn't he be now called Dr. Noor if he became a Muslim? Dr. Moore. Okay, then he goes on about this Dr. Moore thing, you know, and it goes on and on and on about it snowing. It just goes on, and then I say, woo, that is impressive. Ooh, that is impressive. But again, did he come to this about the Quran and embryology with old translations of the Quran, or the new translations, not the ones written before what embryology shows of embryos attaching to uterine walls? Well, ignorant, you ask, you say, I don't care if leech and embryo look like the same. True, I don't. For a clump of cells can look like a lot of things. Luck. Of course, you don't, because you cannot luck. I know I should have asked this a long time ago, but what the hell does luck mean? You know? I think I'll end it.